loves out there on YouTube. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We cover true crime, but we're not covering true crime like literally right now. We're doing a bedhead Betty moment. I'm completely, utterly exhausted. I'm trying to change my time. I got too comfortable in this later time slot, and so now I'm forcing myself to get out of bed earlier in the morning, and I'm having some problems with that, to say the least. I'm utterly exhausted. So me and Delilah are just kind of here. I was reading a bunch of stuff and, just kind of off topic. Say hi to everybody, Miss Delilah. Say hi, I'm here. My mommy's got me here. I woke up and I'm just a sweet little girl. And I just want to be around my mommy. I just want to be around my mommy. My mommy doesn't. There, get under the covers. She wants under the covers. I got treats. She was throwing on me last night to play with her. Like, it's a nub at this point, but I can't throw it away. Otherwise, she will get very, very, very angry at me. So we'll keep the nub. And this is literally in the bed with me, along with her toys. Just to let you know what we're doing. That's why I said good morning, because we don't really have a whole lot of focus for this particular live, except getting your butts up and saying good morning to each and every one of you. If you guys don't know who I am and why I'm sitting on your TV screen in my pajamas, I'm Bullhorn Betty, and we are doing a debut of Bedhead Betty. It's been a while since we've had a Bedhead Betty morning, and this is just one of those mornings. So this morning I got up, I read over a lot. Did you guys know that Nelly and his prior bandmates were in a $50 million lawsuit? I'm just kind of sitting here scratching my head, because I'm kind of in true crime. I'm not really all up in the hip hop or anything like that. And I'm just sitting there watching and reading this morning, and I'm like, I come across this article about Nelly, and I'm like, I've always thought, because I did not do the history of bands before, I just thought Nelly was Nelly. I had no earthly idea that I'd have to think that there would be other people, in the band. It sounds pretty funny that there aren't other people in the band, but what is going on with my internet? Oh, here we go. Ooh, hold on, it's catching up with me. Where is the Nelly stuff? I know I sent it to me. Is it WFLA? No. Oh, here's another thing. We'll have to go over. Let me get to the Nelly first, and then we'll go over that one. Where's Nelly? Ozzy Osbourne. No, it had to have been here. Where is the Nelly stuff? Huh. Hold on. Let me do the 50. I'll have to look it up. Apparently, I didn't send it to myself. I read it, but I apparently didn't send. I don't get into the, hip hop stuff. Nelly, 50 mil lawsuit. $1 million lawsuit. Here we go. So it appears that, here it is, the judge sides with Nelly in this lawsuit. Oh, good morning, everyone. I see you. Ashley, it's nice to see you. Maddie, good morning. Faye, it's nice to see you guys. We're not doing really anything. We're going to be back here at like 10 or 10:30 for our normal live, but I'm adjusting my sleep, and so I got up a little bit earlier this morning, and I've been reading a lot of stuff, so I figured, what the heck, I'm getting up, I'm drinking my coffee. There's no reason to be doing all that alone. So I decided to come live in my pajamas. PJama Betty, right? Bedhead Betty morning. And we're going over some of the conversations and talking pieces that we don't get the chance to go over, like hip-hop and stuff like that. Never even knew Nelly was in a lawsuit. Apparently they were, and it doesn't look like it's good for the other party. So a federal judge has recommended that Nelly be reimbursed his legal expenses stemming from a baseless and frivolous lawsuit filed by one of his former Saint Lunatic's bandmates. I didn't know he was part of this other band prior to breaking out and becoming Nelly. And they decided to sue him over copyright. Now there was three of them. Two of them immediately got out of the lawsuit. It said they weren't involved in it, whatever. So Allie Jones filed the federal lawsuit against Nelly, claiming he misled the bandmates about the credit and royalty for an 8-track on his breakthrough album, debut album, Country Grammar. So this is kind of dating back to his like inception of being Nelly. And it was for the initial lawsuit was for $50 million, listing 3 of the Saint Lunatic, I'm thinking that's what it means, ST, Saint Lunatic members, Tori Harper, Robert Kaiwan, and Lavelle Webb. I think I'm pronouncing those right, but I don't know these people. Who 2 of which who quickly withdrew, saying they did not authorize the lawsuit. Jones continued alone, but moved to voluntarily dismiss the case back in April of 2025. But the case continued and alleged that Jones and Saint Lunatic's member contributed to songwriting on the Country Grammar, while Nelly's contributions were primarily as performer. The album spent 5 weeks at #1. So they're basically saying, we kicked off Nelly's career with our stuff while he was just the singer. It was our work. And unfortunately, the judge has sided with Nelly. Nelly's attorneys argued that Jones' claims were time barred, preemptive, and otherwise frivolous. So it sounds like he was outside of his statutes of limitations. Advocate for baseless claim after law. So it sounds like they admitted the lawsuit as well. So, anyways, it sounds like Nelly's prior bandmates just got beat up. So they helped him get his career. They didn't get paid appropriately for it. He tried to sue for money, and then he ended up having to pay the attorney fees of Nelly that already has plenty of money. So. It's a crazy world out there. I feel bad for everybody. But either way, this is going to be something that we'll probably go over more in depth around 10 or 10:30 this morning when we do our normal show. But this is related to the blast in Tennessee. Oh, good morning, guys. Who's all in here? I said hi to Ashley. Vicky, good morning. Eeyore Blues, blessed, happy Nana. It's nice to see you, my love. Vicky. Hey, good morning, guys. It's nice to see you all here. So it's stating that there's possibly a witness. Now we do know that there were 3 people that went to the hospital. 2 of which left the hospital in stable, obviously no life-threatening injuries. They left that day. So there were people, we have to take into consideration, there were some people that were witnesses to this devastating explosion. But other devastation lies before investigators days after a building at Tennessee explosive plant was razed by blast so powerful that it was felt. It left behind no living witnesses, created a vast and volatile investigation scene, and cast potential evidence for miles around. The cause of Friday's explosion is still under investigation, but authorities caution answers may not come for weeks on months due to unique challenges that will require a delicate, methodical approach and a minute-to-minute safety evaluation. Detonated explosive pose a serious threat to first responders and investigators. Now, remember when we were talking about this yesterday, and they said they had a very active scene. That's what I cautioned everybody about. Oh, thank you for the latte. I appreciate it. Oh, it's sweet. Thank you, Vicky. I really believe that that's what they were referring to when they were talking about that active scene, is that there's still stuff out there that can pose a lethal risk to the searchers. That I don't think that site is safe yet. So they're talking about undetonated explosives pose a serious risk to first responders and investigators. The manufacturing facility, Accurate Energetic System, lies roughly 60 miles west of Nashville and crafts highly explosive products for military and industrial companies. Before any true investigative work or victim recovery can begin, the blast area must be combed foot by foot to ensure explosives have been safely neutralized. Governor Bill Lee said over the weekend. I told you guys I didn't believe that they were that they had started moving the bodies yet. I'm sure there were a few that they were able to get to safely, but there has to be other people under that rubble. And this was a business that had such chemicals and highly combustible components, making this very, very difficult and very, very hazardous. So once we have the entire area cleared for all hazard, all remains, everything else, we will start the post-blast investigation to see the cause and origin of what happened. This is what they were talking about in that press conference we went over yesterday about how they have to take all of the pieces of this building and try to put it back together. Hey, it's me, Jen. Good morning, love. I hope you're doing well. I hope you are doing well. And so that's what we're going to be doing there. They're going to be putting that all back together and in deciding what happened or where the original blast came from. Because what we learned is that there was an original blast that triggered off mini blasts. And they weren't very specific. They didn't describe that well, because was that around the facility? Were there other buildings that may have been affected? Was there storage underground that was affected? Was it only this building that was affected, and maybe there was one major blast like in one side of the building that set off several blasts throughout the building? Because the way I'm looking at it, if you think about it, say this is kind of a lab type of setup, right? You probably have different laboratories in different areas that have all these chemicals in it. Even the ones that, where they're not actively looking, they don't have the cylinders or the little chemical, flasks and stuff like that. I keep wondering if, even if chemicals were stored properly in a storage unit, when that first blast happened, could it have knocked certain things that were protected onto the floor, and the combination of those things set off other, I just wonder, because they said there was one blast and multiple mini blasts. And they never explained, was that in just that building, or was that in other buildings as well? We didn't see any other damage to other buildings. Nobody focused on any other buildings. Only building 6, where the majority of the building 6 was leveled. That's the one that was leveled. So it sounds like there's a possibility that there are victims still in that rubble right now. They're going to start doing the post-blast investigation once the area has been cleared of all hazards, and try to figure out what happened. But finding the root cause of the explosion will be a painstaking task. The initial blast triggered a cascade of smaller explosions. You see how they say that? And they've said this multiple ways in several different explanations throughout different reportings, that there was an initial blast and then several smaller blasts. Was that in the building? And how did they know about that? Were those 3 people there? We're trying to get down to it. Hey, Denise, it's nice to see you. I find it very strange they have not safety. I think they do have safety protocols. They have to have safety protocols because they've been fined previously for violating safety protocols. So they have to have safety protocols. And I want to say that, that many businesses, I don't want to knock this business and people say, oh my God, they were fined. believe it or not, whether you want to acknowledge it, I'm here just to bring down, just to give you guys the real. But a lot of businesses, okay, that do things, they get fined, okay? I mean, we have mosaic and stuff like that, phosphate mining and stuff, which is very, very dangerous. It has some radioactive materials involved in it, and they're fined several times a year. So, restaurants, believe it or not, if you're in a restaurant, there's many restaurants, decent, delicious, even 5-star restaurants that have been closed down for insects or, not following proper. So, yes, they've had violations. I do believe they do follow policies and procedures. This was this was one of two things: either a terrible accident, just a tragic accident, or this was intentional. I mean, yeah, there was only 16 lives here, and you would think that something more intentional would take more lives, but not necessarily. Sometimes it's just for the scene, the chaos, and this is definitely a chaotic scene. So it could just be that. There's been other bombings around the country, around the world, where only 2 or 3 people lost their lives, overseas and stuff like that. Is this one of those types of things? I'm certainly rooting that it's not. Everything I'm seeing and hearing is telling me that this is a terrible accident. But when we start hearing, law enforcement saying we're taking this slow just to confirm that there's nothing here, it makes me feel like there may have been something found or stated that makes them feel that there is a possibility of something else have happened here. This was an explosion, and it leveled a building, and it took 16 people's lives. So I guess jumping to a conclusion such as just a tragic accident is really not helpful for the case at large. But I don't want people thinking that they're in fear either, when I really truly don't believe they're in fear. I don't know what happened inside that building, but right now I just don't feel it. To me, doesn't have all the hallmarks of something more nefarious. I'm not hearing people claiming this. That's one of the main things. When somebody takes their target out, they like people knowing it was them. And so far, we haven't had that. Hey, Melanie, it's nice to see you, love bug. I hope you're doing well. Pale Rider, good morning. I hope you're doing well. But I have to think that it would be something like that, So, let's see. They're trying to figure out where the true blast happened. I think it happened in one of the... Oh, excuse me. I've been having some horrible allergies this... bad allergies. I just in my house, outside of the house, just bad allergies. I've been sneezing quite a bit here. I probably need to start taking some allergy. I don't know. Usually I don't get allergies this late in the year, but something is really bothering me. ATF will ensure that if criminal activity is involved, those responsible will be held accountable. And if it was an accident, the lessons have been learned to prevent a tragedy like this from happening again. Those are perfect statements. If this is something more nefarious, we want to, hold those people accountable. But in a situation where it was an accident, they need to figure out what led them to this accident, because this could happen again. Now, there are policies and procedures, and let's be honest with everybody. The explosive materials have been around for our entire life, for my entire life. I'm pretty sure they've been around for your entire life as well. And we don't have situations like this that happen. There have been, just like the ammunition, Rio Ammunition was in one of the buildings on that site renting out, and they had an explosion at their plant that I think they said lost at least one individual's life. It may have been multiple individuals, maybe up to 3. I remember it was a small number, but still, one's too many. So we do have explosions around this country, whether we know about them or not, because I don't remember hearing about the Rio ammunition that happened. I don't remember hearing that at all. So, there obviously are things that go on around this country that many people don't realize is going on. And loss of life from those explosions. But I don't think that they leveled a building, and they clearly didn't take 16 innocent lives with it. So I think that's what is causing them to take some major precautions, because yes, we've had explosions, yes, people have lost their life doing this kind of job, but when is the last time in our recent history where a building was completely leveled and everybody inside that building lost their life? I can't think of, unless, again, more stories that we didn't learn about through mainstream media. That's the only way. Maybe we need to do some research to find out how widespread this is. And if this is really not that widespread, yeah, we have, accidents at facilities, but nothing to this degree. People lose their lives. I mean, in a lot of different businesses, right? We have window washers that have to scale and go wash windows 30 and 40, stories in the air. Their equipment malfunction, they're deceased. We've seen people with crane operators, right? They're doing their job. Something happens to the crane. They have too much weight on it, and it topples their crane over. They lose their life. So we do have a lot of jobs out there that do have risk of loss of life when you do them. And this is one of those very dangerous jobs where you have a high risk loss of life. You're dealing with combustible items. You're dealing with explosives. Good morning, Angela. Good morning. Good morning. So there's going to be some policies and procedures required for that. But again, something happened. It sounds like something spilled. It sounds like something broke. It sounds like somebody may have tripped and fell into something. Aw, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's me, Jen, gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Nero, you got it. Good morning. And welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. I don't have a button, so everybody scream with me. Ah! Did you guys scream? Should we do it again? Carmela, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Should we do it again? I didn't hear everybody screaming. We got 54 people. My phone should have been shaking. Should have been shaking, you guys screaming with me. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard. Aw, Detective Whiskers. It's nice to see you, love bug. I hope you're doing well. We're just chit-chatting. I haven't quite woke up yet. I figured, you know what? I'm forcing myself to get up a little earlier. So I was up today by, I think, like 6, and I was able to do some research. And of course, I was reading about Nellie. I do not watch Nellie. I don't listen to Nellie. I know who Nellie is, but I don't listen to Nellie. And to hear that he's on a $50 million lawsuit, I feel bad. I would have screamed, but my fur babies would be in shock. Aw, my fur baby crawled under the bed here and is being lazy. Yeah, I'm here. You can go back under there and get warm here in a little. Come here. Oh, the little baby. The little baby. Oh, there's my little baby. She's always with me. It was funny. This morning I get up, I come back in here, I realize I left my phone. She gets up, she follows me, and I'm like, shoot, I forgot my phone. And so she, okay, get back under your freaking bed. She wants to go back under to the warmth. And so, I get up out of bed, you hear the little, and she's got her little bell on her, so she's like, chee, 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 behind me. And so I get my coffee, I come back in here, and she's right behind me, chee, 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 chee. Ooh, we almost spilled it on the bed. You guys were watching that wave of coffee. It almost came out. It almost went over. We saved it. So she's like this. She's chee, 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 chee. So you hear her behind me going to get coffee. Chee, 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 chee. And then you hear her, and I get in the bed, and you can always hear her pop in the bed because her bell just, makes a different noise when she jumps into the bed. So I knew she was in the bed. I'm getting situated, and I realize my phone's not here, and I'm like, stay, just stay. I'll be right back, right? And so I get out of bed, I flip the covers, go in there. I'm like, where's the damn phone? And you hear her, no matter where I went, and all you heard is little nails. That's what it felt like, because I felt like I ran from here into the kitchen, from here into the kitchen, from here into the kitchen. She is a mommy's girl. She is. She is a mommy's girl. I'm sorry, I gotta pull you out just one more time. One more time, then you can go back on. Just one more time. I'm sorry. I know you hate it. I know you want the warmth. Mommy! Mom, what are you doing? What are you doing, Mommy? She's such a, she is a sissy. I wanted her to take a bite out of crime, but as you can see, she's more of a placeholder. She's too sweet. She's too sweet. Oh, you're a sweet little girl. You're a sweet. Oh, there, good gracious. She rolled on her belly. She's like, if you're gonna put me out on your show, I'm gonna have to charge you a belly scratch. I'm gonna have to charge a belly scratch, Mommy. Okay, we'll give her a belly scratch. My door dasher, what'd you write, Jen? My door dasher this AM looked just like 50 cents. Even my 14-year-old son said the same thing. Hey, you never know. Maybe it was a celebrity. You should have asked. You should have taken a picture. Oh, I love the video of her and her friends. Oh, I know. She's adorable. She goes over to her play date every Saturday. She is a mommy's girl. There's no doubt about that. Aw, Jen now gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership, another one. Bo, receive that. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club. I eat the insane, the sun love. Everybody scream with me. Ah! Grab your straight jacket and your padded room. Welcome aboard, Bell Rider. My granddaughter rescued a one-eyed kitten. Aww. I love it. Because you know what? If they went to, that would probably be the one. Most of these people don't like injured animals. We help injured animals. What are you looking at me for? She's literally staring at me like, Mom, you're not petting my belly. Can you go back under the covers and quit yelling at me, please? Thank you. Please and thank you. One day I'm gonna record her. I'm gonna record her when I say BALL. You guys do not know. When we close out our first show, which is usually about, I don't know, we start anywhere between 9:30 and 10 o'clock in the morning, and we're usually done by 11:30, between 11:30 and 12:30 every day with the first show. And as soon as I say my spiel going out, she is literally pawing at my leg. And of course, when thank you, Melanie. Melanie gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Marilyn received that Bullhorn Betty membership. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club. I eat the insanity I love. Ah! Grab your straight jacket in your padded room. And so I always have to use the restroom, okay? Because we're here for like 2 hours. And you guys see me. I drink coffee for 2 hours, okay? My back teeth are floating by the time I'm off that thing. So she's ready to go. Like, she wants to go out. She wants to play BALL out in the back, YARD. And I'm just like, and she's sitting there. I'm trying to pee. I'm giving you guys a little TMI, but I'm trying to pee. And she's just, I'm like, I can't stop it once it's starting, child. Like, we'll get out there. And she's just sitting there. I'm telling you, I'm going to record it. You guys do not believe me how she acts when I turn. And I try to get her. She's shy with you guys. For whatever reason, when she knows you guys are live, she won't do it. She won't do it. I need to wear my body cam. That's when we're going to get the good shot. That's when we're going to really see Delilah. But she doesn't show you everything. Like, she saves it all for me. She waits until the camera. She's a smart little girl. Anyways, let's get back to this. So what we've learned on the explosion is that we don't know what happened. Okay, they said that there was an initial explosion. There must be witnesses to this, and we do know 3 people did go to the hospital for some type of injuries because of this blast. So I don't know where they were sitting, where they were standing when it happened. Were they at another facility, blocks away, or were they in that parking lot? Whatever the case may be, we don't know. They never explained or expressed who these three people were. Just that three people went into the hospital. One was a little more serious than the other two. The other two were released. I believe they kept the one person overnight, but those were all the people we knew about. And then we heard that there were 19 people. Then there were 18 people. We wanted to know what happened. From the 19 count to the 18 count, it sounds like they found some people, which is good news. There was we were looking at 18 people being deceased, and we have 16. So obviously it's good news to hear that 2 people lived, that 2 people weren't there, that their names were brought up by mistake because their vehicles were in the parking lot and some personal items were left there, and so they had just assumed they were a part of the blast. So good news is 2 people that law enforcement originally thought was part of the blast and victims ended up not being. 2 of them were okay and out of the woodworks. Hey Alicia, good morning. It's nice to see you. Kathleen, good morning. Marilyn with a nice blue star next to your name. It's nice to have you. Beautiful Sonia up in the morning. It's nice to see you, love bug. I hope you're doing well. So they're saying here are the key challenges investigators will face and how they plan to overcome them. So we know that there's a vast scene here. We originally heard that the scene is a half a mile in diameter, the blast site, a half a mile. That's huge, okay? I personally think that it's a little bit larger than that, but I don't know. Blue Wolf, good morning. I hope you're doing well. Good morning, good morning. So they are, you got to look at this site as landmines, okay? They could step on something and elicit an explosion or something else. So they're having to deal with this vast scene as a possible landmine because they don't know where they're going to step or what they're going to step on, and is that step going to cost them their life? So in any explosion investigation, rendering the scene safe is paramount, but the nature of accurate energetic products increase the risk of harm exponentially. Though it is unclear what precisely was manufactured in the destroyed building, Accurate Energetic is a key supplier to military and manufacturers bulk explosives, landmines, and small breaching charges, including C4. We have to remember, there are, like they said, small breaching. We forget about that. Sometimes they use these explosives to open doors. When other products like ramming will not work, they use these explosives to help do that. So I forgot about that. But these include C4. Last month, the U.S. Department of Defense awarded the company a contract for $120 million for the procurement of TNT. That's a huge deal. And they received a contract just a month prior before this building went kaboom in this environment. I can kind of see now why they're looking at this and making sure that this isn't something else, because that's a huge story, and a huge amount of money. I kind of see now. I didn't know that. I guess I missed that in our first assessment of this case. But this is, within close proximity to this blast. Last month, the U.S. Department awarded this company a contract for $120 million specifically for TNT. Does anybody know if that was in the newspaper or if that was, who would have known that? Because sometimes these contracts are so, they're so happy and proud of contracts like this for a local company, they'll usually run a story about it, and if that's the case, this could have put a target on this company's back. If there was no story, who knew about this procurement? And, you're going to have to look at that angle because they are not taking this as just an accident. They're looking at all possibilities. of this. Actually, until we get to this other statement, let me get something behind me so people can see what we're talking about here. I know I've got to have. There we go. Yeah. I guess we'll go with the 18 still missing. We don't have 18 still missing, but I can't get this to sit right on my. Yeah, this is not sitting right. So we'll just have to. We'll keep that up. It says accurate energetic systems until we get done with this, and then we'll go back to the other one. Last month, the U.S. Department of Defense awarded the $120 million. Bomb technicians from ATF, FBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations undertook the meticulous and physical grueling task over the weekend. We're working at a snail's pace, Humphrey County Sheriff Chris Davis said. He noted that the task is very physically demanding and technicians are donning heavy protective gear in midday in Tennessee heat. So they're probably in those big white bomb suits while they're going through this. That's got to be brutal. Even in cool days, those things got to trap some type of heat. You know what I'm saying? Leading the effort is the ATF National Response Team, a specialized rapid response force that responds to the nation's highest profile bombings and explosions, arsons, including 9/11 Trade Center, the 1995 Oakland bomb. So this specialized team is on the ground here. So, they've seen a wide variety of different type of cases. Guys, if you're coming in, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Please don't forget to write a comment down below. Tell everybody hi. Oh, thank you, Blue Wolf, for the squirrel cup. I appreciate that. Let me see that. I want to see that. Aw, I love it. Thank you. The explosives disposal teams began on the outer fringe of the blast site and are working step by step toward the area. So I don't see where they have a lot of these victims out of that area yet. If they were on top of areas, and not under rubble, they may have been taken in, and if that area where their remains. Oh, thank you. It's me, Jen. Floating heart. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Then those people would probably, be processed, but I have to think that there are people under the blast. That when this stuff happened, that there's rubble, that there are some under, but they haven't told us how many people they've removed from the site or if they've removed anybody. But I know that the sheriff was going to a funeral. It appeared that he was implying the funeral was from somebody out of this this area. So at least a few people have been, released to their families for burial, but I can't imagine all of them are. Together, they bring decades of experience determining the origin of the explosion and the fires. The explosive disposal team began on the outer fringe of the site and are working toward the area. And again, I don't think that they've gotten all the victims. A drone from the sheriff's office was also used to help identify potential hot spots from the air. But it's going to take time to get to the actual facility. So they haven't even, I don't even think they've gotten to the facility yet, where they are working with explosive materials. One advantage is there will be a detailed record of what hazards were being stored inside the building, because Accurate Energetic is a government contractor, who said Tom, who spent more than 2 decades with ATF. So it sounds like because they have these government contracts, they're going to be required to maintain a lot of different stuff to have that governmental contracts. Vital witnesses were killed in the blast. All 16 people inside the facility died in the blast, leaving behind a devastated network of coworkers and loved ones, as well as depriving investigators of crucial accounts of final moments leading up to the explosion. So everybody in and around that building lost their lives. I'm still interested in the 3 people that originally went to the hospital. Where were they located when this blast happened? Everyone who is in there who could have described what was happening, what went wrong immediately before the blast, is dead. Instead, authorities will have to interview other workers who went there, who were there not, workers who were not there and who may offer insight on the conditions. So they're going to be looking at, how was things maintained inside the building. What was the state of the workplace? Was it clean? Was it orderly? Was the company following the law? Sometimes surveillance footage can provide important information, but the timing and location of the first blast, however, the footage may not exist in this case due to the scale of the damage, he said. Identifying victims' remains has also been a slow process because their bodies cannot be recovered until the surrounding area is declared safe. I knew it. I told you guys this yesterday, that I don't think that they've gotten there to get to these, to process these bodies. While investigators have compiled a list of employees presumed to be dead, the victims' loved ones must endure the agonizing wait to be united with their remains. Sad. Authorities have tried to expedite the process by giving DNA samples from the family whose loved ones are in the rubble, so they can do the rapid DNA testing, which we're aware of. Reconstruction, and obliterated scene. Once investigators have been cleared to begin analyzing the scene, they will be faced with a chaotic expanse of mangled equipment, shards of manufacturing material, and hunks of evidence that will be flung far from its origin. Typically, the first step is to identify the seat of the blast. So they want to know, where did the original blast come from? Hey, Mackenzie, it's nice to see you. Let's see if we got any questions so far. Hello. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button on your way in. Thank you, guys. I lost my husband. Yeah, there's been a lot of loss here. Hugs and prayers. I do that sometimes too. It's me, Jen. And sometimes I'm like, I'll be talking and I'll realize, wait a minute, what are they talking about in chat? It's not going with what I'm looking at. And I'll look up there and I'll realize I'm behind. In my opinion, toxicology exams at the victims might show what chemicals they died. Yeah, possibly. The problem in the scene is that it is complete devastation. Oftentimes, an explosion will only partially damage a building, making it clear where the blast originated from. In this case, the building has been essentially razed. The already large and complicated scene has also expanded as residents have continued to find unusual debris cast as far as 2 miles from the facility. He encourages residents who find objects, and this is important, if you are in this area and you have any debris in your yard or on your house, or you see it anywhere, please reach out to law enforcement, because they're recreating this scene. They need to have that information. The ATF is assisting agencies will use facility blueprints, pictures, and a field of debris to reconstruct the scene. Agency special agents in charge is Matthew Bellew, said Monday. Wow. So just a lot of destruction. We know for a fact that this is going to take a while. Like I said, it is a little insane. I also found out this morning, which is one of the reasons why I had the original photo up here, is because it sounds to me like after this next assessment, which nobody agrees with, it just seems like it's quick, where they're just going to close the case. They have officially closed the case of Ellen Greenberg, with the idiots in PA citing that she was able to stab herself in the back of the head that many times. I think it's absolutely stupid. I think that they have screwed up the case so bad that they don't. I don't know. I don't know how anybody, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's a very upsetting, and we don't even know these people, right? We're hearing about the case. We know what we know, and we just keep wondering, what does this guy have over this community where they are protecting him so much? I have no earthly idea, but maybe somebody was paid off. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, cancer is bad. I truly believe, I see some people talking about cancer, guys. I know you guys are probably going to be upset when I say this, but I truly believe there's a cure out there, and I believe that Big Pharma has prevented that cure from being realized because they're making so much money off their other garbage that they just don't want to push it through. I know a lot about a lot when it comes. I was flabbergasted what I learned. We have patents on in the United States, including growing bodies. Okay, they haven't been patented. It's still illegal to grow bodies in the United States, but clearly, if there's a patent, somebody's doing it somewhere, whether it's in our country or some other country, to study it. It's sick. It's sick. Some of the stuff that we have that they do and that they study. It's kind of twisted. But I truly do believe that they do have cancer, because it's like, they've made so many strides. I believe that they had the cure, and still do have the cure to AIDS, but haven't fully allowed it out because they're making so much money on the monthly prescription. That's how I look at it. These big pharma companies, everybody, think about it, everybody, even down to the Glade manufacturers, the scent stuff, they have a formula that tells them how much a normal average person extra income that they have that they can spend on your product, right? And so they price their product to fit in there. I mean, if you look at it, you're probably spending $30 a month on scents for your house to make your house smell good. $30 a month. And you take that and you just increase that by, I don't know, a couple million people. You got $60 million every month coming in for people to have scent in their house. Now, let me ask you, how many times have you looked on the back of that box to find out what chemicals you're breathing in all through your house? Probably very little of you have actually looked at what chemicals you're introducing to your house and breathing in all day. Okay? Now you've got breathing problems. Now you've got allergy problems. Now you've got, all kinds of stuff. So what I'm saying here is that I don't trust a lot. I don't trust a lot because it's too profitable for these companies and these people to lie. I think in a situation with Ellen Greenberg, they screwed up so bad. This guy obviously is, I don't even know if it's because he's powerful. I don't know if the guy's powerful. I just think these people screwed up so bad, they don't want to acknowledge how bad they screwed up. Because if they say it's a homicide, then they have to arrest this guy, and they've got no case against him because they screwed it up. That's what I believe. Adriano, it's nice to see you. Hopefully I said your name wrong. Who knows? Hello, good morning, love. I hope you're doing well. It's a little crazy to me. I don't like it. And the whole door latch being locked, so what? So what? And not only that, that's what he says. That's what he says. You're literally taking one man's word for everything to explain how the door was damaged when he got into the house. What if that door was damaged prior to? What if that door was broke into because they were having a fight earlier that day? And he kicked in the door and came in there and stabbed her. And then he cleaned himself up and went down to the gym and then came back up and acted like he was breaking into the door. Because I can't imagine nobody hearing nothing. I don't know. But guess what? Remember we were talking about, if you guys didn't watch it last night, we're kind of bringing on a new case. Her name's Kata Scott. I kind of was iffy about the case, whether this was a hoax. You know, she had just started this job 2 weeks before. It was a Saturday, a Saturday night. She's 20 something years old. I just assumed that, you know, this may have been where she was sneaking away from home and would be, you know, coming back after she's a Penn State graduate. She's very beautiful. She was part of the pageant. And I think maybe even a Miss America, or, you know, the state, whatever they do, pageants around their community. And she was an entrepreneur. I can never say, that's one of the words that always, I'll say it one day, but today is not the day, but you guys hear what I'm saying. And so she was going to this night shift at a assisted living facility in order to save money or pay off school or get her dreams off the ground. And some people were talking about her being harassed, you know, somebody calling her on the phone and harassing her. And everything seemed, at least from me, from where I'm looking at this, you know, case and looking in, it seems like all these issues started happening when she got employed at this night job. This is kind of where all of her problems started. Now, is this somebody outside of that facility, or is this somebody inside that facility? We have very limited information on Kata Scott. We don't know if she was dating anybody. We don't know when her last relationship was. We don't know if she was casually, you know, going out and seeing somebody. We don't know if she was sweet on somebody at her job, which happens, right? Let's not exclude it. We know it happens. We see it happen a lot. So, you know, we're asking ourselves all these types of questions about her that we have no answers for. What we do know is that it sounds like coworkers as well as some family and friends knew that she was being harassed by phone by some unknown person. I don't know if they were just putting unknown person in the news articles because law enforcement told them don't provide anybody's name. And maybe they're withholding a person's name that they know may have been responsible for these phone calls, or maybe somebody at work that may have been responsible for the harassment. We're unsure. That information is not available to us. What we know is that she was complaining about being harassed, and we hear that her mom saw her leave the house to head to work, and her car was in the parking lot. Now, as of last night, I'm heavily confused about whether she ever clocked in to work, because one article stated that she never made it into the office or never made it into her work. Another statement was that that somebody had told her mom originally that she had made it to work and she worked almost to the end of her shift and should have been heading home. Right? So that was the next what the work told her. Well, then that had changed, and now they're saying the work told her that she did come in, she clocked in, but she left shortly after clocking in. That doesn't make sense. Nobody is going to go to work and then leave work unless they are planning on going out with a friend or sneaking off or something like that. I'm not sure if she seemed like that kind of girl. And so this is really starting, and especially seeing how there has been things changed at her job. So originally she was there for a full shift, and then that changed to her being there for only a short time after she started her shift. In my opinion, something happened at work, allegedly. That's where I'm going with this, Faye. It seems like she was starting to get harassed after she started this job. She's working an overnight shift. How many people are on that shift? And not only that, there are no cameras. There are no cameras. I hope the family, if they find out something happened at this job, I hope they sue the company. Like, how dare you have all of these people in we're no cameras in the building on the inside either? That seems, when you're dealing with assisted living facility, and we know that patient care is an all-time low at these places, that there's a lot of abuse at these places, and then you have a facility that refuses to have even the minimal amount of cameras, to me tells me that they're hiding something that they know or they don't want. Because who would not, at this day and age, cameras are so inexpensive to install on businesses. It seems like businesses that don't have cameras have something to hide. That's the way I look at them, because you can find an 8 channel system, for $500 or less. Some of these businesses produce $1 million a month, and you're telling me they would not invest $500 in cameras? How long has this harassment been happening? That's a great question, Faye. Nobody has expressed that. We know we just learned that she had been bringing it up, that she's talked about being harassed over, very specific too, harassed over the phone. So somebody was calling her and harassing her over the phone. So were they harassing her over the phone at her job or on her cell phone? And somebody even asked yesterday, she is such a beautiful young lady. Somebody asked yesterday, shouldn't they be able to find who did this to her? Who, or not did this to her, but who called her? And I would say, yeah, you would think that if it was on her cell phone, they would have a number coming in that they could track. Even if it was a burner, they should be able to figure out where that was at minimum. If it came in on their work phone, then it might be a little more complicated depending on how their work phones are designed, because sometimes you have switchboards and stuff like that, and that can complicate some things. But they should definitely be able to tell whether it was an outside call or an inside call, because some of these, they have the intercom system, everything's handled through the phone, so you don't necessarily, it could be, because just in my theory, one of my theories is that it would be a coworker, somebody at that job. So maybe somebody went into another office and plugged in her extension and called her, or made it look like it was coming in and she was picking up the phone. But it seems to me, if somebody was harassing her inside that business and it was coming from an extension, I remember when I had switchboards and stuff, I could see what extension it was coming from. Versus a phone number. But, my caller ID also had phone numbers on it. So I could tell if somebody was, calling me from an extension, or if somebody was calling me from their private phone with the switchboard we had and the information that we had. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is going to kind of segue into my other case, because if you watched my original video on Kata Scott, I was had mixed feelings. I'm like, this kind of feels hoaxy to me. It's a Saturday night. She's just started the job 2 weeks. She's 23. She's recently graduated. Even with the VPNs, a lot of people don't realize our federal government can break through those VPNs very, very quickly. VPNs in our country are still required to maintain records, okay? It's a United States thing. And our VPNs can't really work in our country without being part of our country. So they still have recording. They still have to keep records. While most people can't break into VPNs, there are information stored that can be accessed by our government, period, if they wanted to. But this is kind of segueing into my next story, because we knew, and I even brought up Carly Russell, because Carly Russell, she was a hoaxer. I brought up the young kid that was just in my area here in Florida that lied about what he, about left his mother. I'm trying to find his name. I can't remember his name. I don't know why his name is not coming up here. They're withholding his name for some reason in Florida. WFLA, you guys suck. I just want to let you know that. You guys got... But anyways, it was a teen. We did a story on him. If you give me a second, I will... Hold on. Denellen teen that was missing that bought a tent. Tell me his name. Caden. There it is. Caden Spate. And so we talked about Carly Russell, talked about Caden Spate, and what he did, and how this kind of feels kind of right up those alleys. You know, she's young, she's 23, she's at this ALF, assisted living facility. She's probably, you know, being the new kid on the block, has all the grunt work that other people don't want to do. Either way, she showed up for work, and it being a Saturday night, you know, we're looking at all angles, but I did put a caveat. If something happened to her, it sounds like it would have happened at work. Like it would have been work. I'm not really looking. I've never really looked at home in this case. I never really believed that the mom, her mother, you know, did anything to her, or anybody in her family. Her mom says she watched her daughter get in her car and head to work. That sounds realistic to me. Okay, it's 9:45 at night. She said her mom, you know, the way her mom talks and acts like my mom. I'm pretty sure her mom was of her mom, and you know, was on top of it. If her daughter needed to be to work, she was making sure her daughter got to work. Her daughter had her car. She saw her. She probably said, "Mom, I'm heading to work. I love you. I'll see you in the morning." And her mom says, "All right, honey, we'll talk soon." And her mom's none the wiser until 6 o'clock rolls around and her daughter's not there. And so now she's calling up to the work and saying, "Hey, you know, where's my daughter?" Well, she should be home. She worked her shift last night. And then they get up there and the daughter's car's still there. And they're like, "Where's my daughter?" Right? So then they find out, well, that she clocked in, but she left. Well, I'm getting a report now that's saying that she may not even have clocked in. So I'm very, very, very concerned about what is going on here. You know, she's pulling up at 9:45. Did she make it into the building? Well, you know, law enforcement is saying that she did. I'm praying to God that she did. If she did, then it's most likely something inside that job, because she's not going to leave, just up and leave in the middle of her shift for no reason. If she went outside, there was a reason. If she didn't go outside and she was at work and she's missing, there's a reason. But it seems like this job is ground zero. And we're going to look at it like that. I'm not looking at home. I'm looking at that facility. Who was there? And I don't care if they've you know, interviewed everybody. Something happened to this young lady. She either walked off willingly or she did not. And right now they have the homicide team coming in. Homicide investigation. I don't know what they found. Did they find blood? Did they find a struggle? Did they find something more? I don't know. But again, this segues into Caden Spate's story. He was one that basically ran away from home, texted his mom, said he was shot. 4 Hispanics had him. There was 1 Hispanic driver. He's in a white van. That's what was stated, and then nobody heard from him. I looked at that truck, and it made no sense to me, because that truck, you know, could have careened a white van into oblivion. Why he would ever step out of the truck he was in. It was a very, very, I know trucks, because I have family that has farms. I have people that have big trucks to move produce and other things. I've seen big trucks. I know what type of truck that is. That's a diesel truck. That's a very powerful truck. And for him to have anybody abduct him in a truck like that is crazy, because if I was in Florida and somebody was trying to take me, I'm running them over. Okay? I mean, what else do you do? I got a big old truck. I'm behind the wheel. I'm going to play, I'm going to run them over. I'm not getting out of the vehicle and going to the threat. I'm going to use the one weapon I have to defend myself. And I have to think that a 17-year-old boy has, that same type of mindset. He's a country boy, shoots, animals, go shoot, game shooting. When you're out in the country in Dunellen, you are a person that is well versed in firearms. Okay, I'm sorry, it's country, and people in the country love their firearms. So I have to think a 17-year-old boy would not be getting out of his truck to be abducted. He would have used the truck to run over his abductor, much like I would have used it. But that wasn't the case. He sent his mom this message. Then after an investigation, a thorough investigation, they realized he bought a bike and a tent, and he went out and lived in the woods. They ended up finding him. He was safe and sound, but it did appear he did shoot himself. That was true. Everybody says, did he really shoot himself? I didn't think he did. Well, according to this, he did. He shot himself. Deputies located the teen's truck, which had a bullet hole and blood in the windshield. Crime scene technicians observed a bullet hole through the windshield of the vehicle. Suspected blood, the teen's severely damaged cell phone, drag marks in the dirt, like he really went it through this, and bike tracks leading away from the truck. So they did catch the bike tracks too, which is what ultimately broke this case wide open. But it is with, news this morning. Good morning, Lady for Justice. It's nice to see you. It's with news this morning that teenager, much like Carly Russell, did get arrested for staging his abduction. And so now this teen finds himself in legal hot water. In my opinion, I think people need to be held accountable. But when you deal with these younger people, I really do attribute this to mental illness or coping issues. When you're dealing with somebody under the age of 18, I hope they're dealing with him in a juvenile court. I don't think this rises to an adult court. Let's just hope. And let's hope that they get him the help that he needs. But to me, it feels like this is a coping issue. Just like with Carly Russell, I didn't really attribute it to mental illness. I attributed it to coping. She was having a terrible time coping with the loss of her boyfriend seeing another woman, that woman being a stripper or whatever the case may be, him having multiple affairs on her or whatever, her wanting to be missing to get him to miss her is basically the motive for Carly Russell. So it was a coping issue. I heard that Caden's mom was struggling with cancer, that there was other family things going on in his home. So the attention that he was seeking was, again, related to coping. He was having a hard time coping with the stuff that's going on. So you can identify certain, I don't really identify him with mental illness, even though I don't know who he is. I do think that these things need to be looked at from a mental illness perspective, because coping issues, while not necessarily a mental illness, I think can be handled with counseling and therapy as opposed to jail time. And hopefully they do the right thing. Unfortunately, I'm from Florida, so we're kind of pretty strict here, and we're very heavy-handed when it comes to jail sentences. And so I'm hoping that our state recognizes that there is an issue and a need here, and I hope they do right by this, and this young man doesn't have an overzealous prosecutor, which does happen in the state of Florida. I know it. I speak freely. I speak honestly. I do love how we enforce our laws, but there is a double-edged sword to that too. When we have a situation of a person really needing therapy and help, is that really what we're providing in our justice system? I guess only time will tell for Caden Spate, but I'm going to be right there making sure and pursuing and keeping people's feet to the fire that he's not overly charged, that this is a family issue, that there is some stuff here that needs to be worked out, but does he need to ruin his future in order to get them worked out? At the end of the day, I blame a lot of this stuff on our public education system with what our young folks are going through, our 20-somethings, the lack thereof of them being well-rounded individuals or prepared for life. They're not prepared for life. I blame our schools for that, because who prepared me for life? Well, my family helped prepare me for life, but the schools are the ones that taught me how to cook. They taught me how to balance a checkbook. They taught me how to sew clothes. They taught me how to drive. My school, when I went to school, prepared me for life. They did not give me a safe space. They did not give me a coloring book. If I didn't turn my homework in, it went into my grade as a 0. Do better next time. We had to deal with consequences of our actions while we were in school. I believe we were absolutely prepared for the real world. You don't see us grabbing guns and wanting to take out a bunch of little people because we can't deal with life. We deal with life. We tell life when life gives us problems, we tell it to go fuck itself. That's what we do. Okay? Excuse my language, but in all reality, that's what we do. That's what my generation does. We tell people to go kick rocks. We don't care. You know? Everybody in this new generation is so worried about somebody else's feelings and so worried about what somebody might say about them. Who cares? Who cares? People say stuff about little Delilah. Okay? They say horrible things about my poopy. And I say there's nothing this little poopy could possibly do to have anything horrible said about her. She's cute as a button, okay? Even when she sleeps, she's got one little leg popped up as she's sleeping on her side. She's so cute. She's so cute. Too cute, damn it. But you know what? They say stuff mean. I know that she's a lovey, right? She's my boo-boo. I know what she knows what side her bread's buttered on. I'm just saying. It doesn't matter what they say. We know better. We'll tell them to go F off as well. We'll tell them to go F off as well. But at the end of the day, you know, I mean, quit worrying about other people. Quit worrying about other people. But this day and age, they're not prepared. That's the point I'm making. Is our young folks are not prepared. They're not prepared like we were prepared. I mean, to be honest with you, they get into a little cat scratch, they're going to jail. Like, you know, I'm sorry, fighting is part of life. This is getting ridiculous. I just saw another kid, 9 years old, arrested. I read this thing. 9 years old, arrested for threatening 2 kids with a knife, a little 9-year-old. And I'm thinking, why is he threatening those kids with a knife? He's threatening those kids with a knife probably because he's being bullied, first and foremost. Secondly, why is he choosing that type of behavior? He's 9. How dare them arrest a 9-year-old child? Go arrest the damn parents. Why are the parents going unscathed? Why are the parents able to raise and have a 9-year-old child with a freaking knife? Where is their accountability for doing this? Because what I find out is these children, 9, 10, 11, and under, right? What I find out with almost every single one of them, they're not bad kids. They come from bad homes. And over time of them being in that home, they're going to turn into rotten people just like the people in that home. So it's only a matter of time. But are we really going to put our foot on their neck and not give any of them a right to thrive? If a 9-year-old child is going to jail, the parents need to be accompanying them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I find that you will see a lot of corrected behavior in the under 13 era if you start throwing the parents in jail every time you put handcuffs on their child. You will find out very quickly even the thugs don't want to be going to jail because their children are thugs. You'll find that out very quickly. But something has got to get done. Parents have got to start. When we start having these young kids bringing items to school, guns, knives, or other things that are going to hurt people, even brass knuckles. If those young children are going to be going to jail, you take those damn parents. Because that child did not get there that day by himself. I'm very, very, very big about underage arrests. You guys have no idea how upset it makes me to hear that children, babies, are being arrested for acting like babies. Okay? Children hit. Children have no self-control. Okay? That is the reality of children. That's the reality of children. They haven't learned self-control. Their brains aren't developed, and you're going to throw them in jail? The flip? Cut it out. Cut it out. Don't. If I get on that, we won't get off of it. I will be screaming and cursing and everything else. But Caden Spate is officially arrested. He is now being charged. I hope the courts, like I said previously, I truly do hope the courts don't throw the book at him. You know, this is not. I think this is. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. If his mother, if his mother has cancer and he did this to her, that would be awful. But for him to physically shoot himself, like, this is a kid screaming for help. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't see where any criminal procedure is going to help this kid. He needs help. We got to start being smarter with this stuff. You guys know how I am. I'm an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, but I might be a bitch, but I'm not a heartless bitch. And I just see things a little differently, and I want to help people. At the end of the day, I want to help people. And sometimes sometimes the best help you can do is just throw somebody in jail and throw away the key. That's the best help you can do. In other cases, they need therapies, they need counseling, they need other things. They don't need criminal records. And we have, as a society, have got to start to delineate between what are truly crimes and what is bad behavior or needs corrective behavior. And we've got to start, otherwise we're going to have a lot of people, and that's where we're making our biggest mistakes. We're taking people that are nonviolent, that aren't doing major criminal stuff, and we're sticking them in prisons with violent criminals. And all they're doing is honing skills for the younger people and putting them back out on the road. That's got to stop. We've got to delineate. There is a path forward in this country where they need to segregate petty crimes from major crimes, and they've got to delineate them in these prisons and other things. Nonviolent crimes, they need therapies, they need work camps, they need life lessons, life skills. A lot of these people dropped out of school or had horrible parents, drugs and stuff. They don't know the basics of life. And sometimes just getting them the right footing that they need with the basics of life could really change their future and not make them this spinning door of these jails. And I feel there needs to be some, and I think the privatization of jails have got to, I don't think anybody should be profiting off of prisons. Okay? No matter how you look at it, it is disgusting to me because you're profiting off the worst of worst, right? Somebody murders your child and they go to jail, and as long as they pay $20, they can get, this item. And as long as they pay exorbitant amounts of money, somebody profits off those exorbitant amounts of money, they can have whatever they want. I'm sorry, that's not good enough for me. I don't like privatization of prisons. I don't like it. They try to convince us that it's for better support and better quality of life for these folks. I say no, it's not, because the person that is worried about the dollar bill is the problem, right? They're going to cut services to increase profits. That's what they're going to do. So I'd rather the government handle this. Yeah, it's going to cost us a shit ton of money because our government is irresponsible and mismanages our money. I get that. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry. I'd rather take a loss of our prison systems than some company making money off of them. I'm sorry. It's a principle thing for me. It is a principle thing for me. I think the commissary should be normally funded. If something costs a dollar out in the real world, it should cost no more than $2 or $3 inside jail, because they have to go through different protocols to get that in there, increased, security and stuff like that. So I know it costs money to get stuff into those vending machines. But at the end of the day, once they go through their onboarding or whatever to be a vendor, it's done. It's done. So I don't really care. I think when I go to a vending machine in a federal facility and they're charging $8 for an item I can get at Walmart for $1.50, I find that disgusting. I find that wholly disgusting. That is taking advantage of families. It's taking advantage of the situation. It's costing families, because let's face it, when these people go to prison, who's saddled with those costs? Do you think it's the prisoner? No, it's the innocent family that's saddled with all those costs. It's the innocent family that has to pay $8 for those vending machine things. It's the families that are breaking themselves just to make sure that their convict is living a somewhat of a comfortable life. So there is that. Why is Christian keep moving? I don't like that. It's nice to see you guys. Nice to see you. So that's really my conversation piece. We've already been going for well over an hour and 20 minutes. I was going to start at 10. So we'll probably push our live into the office back to about 11. I may wait until this afternoon and do a live around 3 and just drop a couple videos throughout the day. We'll see where our day is. We've got a lot to cover. Let me just go over some of the stuff that we've already got in the mix. I wanted to show you guys this, which isn't, for some of you guys would.
The Democrats are getting killed on the shutdown because we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we were opposed to. So we're being and they're never going to come back in many cases. So we're being able to do things that we were unable to do before. So we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we wanted to close up or that we never wanted to happen, and now we're closing them up. And we're not going to let them come back. The Democrats are getting killed. And we're going to have a list of them on Friday, closing up some of the most egregious, socialist, semi-communist, probably not full communist, we're saving that for New York, but semi-communist programs. And we're closing them up. We're not closing up Republican programs because we think they work. So the Democrats are getting killed, but they're not telling the people about that. I say it, I haven't said it probably as bluntly as I just said it, but so we are closing up Democrat programs that we disagree with, and they're never going to open again.
So, we have this government shutdown. We've all been questioning why we have this government shutdown. It's not really affecting American people. This is over politics. They want us to shell out $1.5 trillion in illegal and foreign aid packages around the country. We're saying we're broke. We're not doing it. We want a clean resolution, continuing resolution bill to pay just, as they're paid right now. And the Senate threw a monkey wrench in it and said, well, even though the House passed this and this is straightforward, only 24 pages, when do you ever hear of anything in Congress being 24 pages? And when you read it, it's understandable. And the Democrats are having a problem passing it. It blows my mind, but we're not getting into that conversation. But the bottom line is now, because they shut the government down, this is giving, they were fighting Trump on all these programs to stay open and all these people to be in the federal government, federal employees and stuff like that. And they've been fighting Donald Trump on closing these programs down. Well, during this shutdown, that gives him the entitlement that he needed to shut these programs down. So what are they accomplishing with this shutdown? They're accomplishing nothing. The Schumer shutdown literally is accomplishing nothing. We're paying the women, the infants and children. WIC is still going forward. We found money. We're paying those. The other thing that they were trying to apply pressure with was the military, the active military going without pay. Well, the federal employees are getting partial paychecks this week, and a lot of, about 4,000 so far, employees have been given a pink slip. They're not coming back to our government. And now those beautiful programs that the Democrats wanted to keep open, that they fought tooth and nail so the Republicans didn't close, well, now that they've shut this government down, Donald Trump can go in there and close them down because of this shutdown. So they've lost. That's what Donald Trump is talking about. They're dead. They've done it. Because the radical left of the party wanted this fight with Donald Trump, they lost everything. They went all in on a losing hand. You guys understand that? The Democrat Party went all in on a losing hand, and we have just cleaned house. We've gotten rid of bureaucrats that we wanted to get. And look at this. Let's face it. None of us are really affected by this. None of us are affected by 4,000 employees leaving their job and losing their job. It has affected me zero. It's affected you zero. Our government is so stinking big. Watch, we're going to be able to go weeks with this government shutdown and it truly not affect one person in my audience life. Watch. We're going to go weeks and it didn't affect one person. You know what that tells us? Our government is entirely too big. We could go weeks without our government even functioning and none of us knew a damn thing. It's time to start really pulling in the purse strings, folks. On both sides of the aisle, it's time to start pulling in those purse strings. Because by the time this shutdown is over, we're not even going to notice it even began. I'm just saying. And if that's the case, our government is entirely too big. We are paying entirely too much money for people that do absolutely nothing to advance America. If we can literally sit down and have our entire government shut down for weeks and not even bat an eye at it, we've got a huge problem here. I'm a Trump supporter, but my son-in-law is getting paid. Isn't getting paid. Is he active military? Because there are federal employees that are only getting half checks. They're only taking care of active military right now. So just and he should not get paid. From my understanding, there should be getting a partial payment. This is the last payment that they're going to receive, but everybody should be receiving a partial payment for this one, and then after that, no more pay for federal employees until and the good news is this is how it's going to work. I'm going to tell you how it's going to work because I don't have a crystal ball, but I trust politics and I trust the strategy. So it sounds like they need to get past this No Kings rally, which is stupid because first of all, Donald Trump's our president. He's not our king. We never called him our king. And the only people that want to be king are the Democrat Party. So I really don't understand why they're even doing this. But hey, I digress. They just love to hate, right? They just love to hate. They were all, pro-Gaza, pro-Palestine. Well, we had a great Middle East peace resolution between Israel and Palestine and Gaza and Hamas, about Gaza rather, and nobody said thank you. They're just still angry. What the flip are they angry about today? No kings, nobody. The only people that want to be in control are the Democrats, and they want to take it by anything necessary. They call us being in the cult, but they're the ones that want to kill us all. Like, how is that not cult-like? It's just the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life, and they're still going forward with this No Kings rally, which is stupid. It's absolutely stupid. It was developed before the Palestine peace deal with Israel, and now it's here. So what's the point of a pro-Hamas, I hate America, when we just ended the war? It makes no sense, but again, what's going to end up happening is Chuck Schumer has to wait for that because he doesn't want his rabid base, turning on him. So he's waiting until after the No Kings. So it's either going to be they're going to release this and open the country back up after the No Kings rally, which is next Saturday, or they're going to make us wait the entire 7 weeks. Either way, we're going to keep cleaning out Democrat stuff. We're going to keep firing their bureaucrats, their nasty ass bureaucrats that are in our system, ruining it. We're just going to keep moving the needle forward. And when the Democrats and people that are on here that don't like Betty and say, "Oh my God, yes, whatever," well, go tell Schumer to open up the country, and you guys can quit being paddled, right? Because we're bending you over our knee and we're smacking that ass, baby. We're winning. We are absolutely winning. We're not handing over $1.5 trillion. We're not supporting illegal Medicare or Medicaid. We're not supporting foreign efforts around the globe when we have problems right here at home. And we're going to close down the country until, the Democrats decide that it can be open. And then what we're going to do in 2026 is make sure that they can never do this again by what? Removing some Democrats from the Senate and instilling 5 more or 7 more Republicans so we don't have to worry about shutdowns anymore. That's what we need to be doing in the Senate. Everybody needs to be hiring Republicans for this next 2026 election. If they have an R next to their name and they are an underdog, I want you to vote for them. I do not like career politicians, but if we need a career politician to get into place just to get what we need to get done, then do what we got to do. I would like to see Tom Massey and Rand Paul lose their job. They are horrible for the state of Kentucky. I'd like to see Nate Morris get into Kentucky, and I know he's going for McConnell's old seat. McConnell's not running again, but he does have some competition for that seat, and I would like to see Nate Morris get that seat. So if you're from Kentucky, Nate Morris is your guy. We're going to vote. We need to be voting for these underdogs. These underdogs are statesmen. They're not career politicians, and we need to get them in office, and we need to get them working for America. That's just my opinion. You guys do you, but please, please, please think about the future of this country. Anyways, that's all I've got for right now. We'll be back later this afternoon to go over a real do a real live in the studio, but right now we're just doing Bedhead Betty time, and thank you all for being here, and don't forget to hit that thumbs up button on your way out. If you're on the replay crew, consider a super thanks and hyping this as well. I truly do appreciate it, and we'll see you soon. God bless.